and welcome to Rediscovered, my Let's Play for Vintage Story, which is a a survival builder in the truest sense of the word, firmly rooted in Minecraft basics, but then it kind of grew away from and in some ways outgrew Minecraft, and that's what makes it so fun. So I've been playing this world, and I've got the basics right. I can feed myself. I got crops, and crops are coming, are ripening. So starvation is not a problem, though. Oh gosh, it's dark in here. I let my torches burn out, which is not cool. So so starvation isn't a big threat to me, though eating the same thing over and over until I become utterly sick of it is a distinct possibility. But you know, basically we have the basics under our belt, and the next step in a number of different ways is making the jump from the Stone Age to the Metal Age. And I need some grass here to make some more torches. So what happens is torches last for 48 hours of game time, and if you don't refresh them or replace them in that time, they burn out. And burned out torches are bad. Like Mr. Mackey says in South Park, burned out torches are bad. Okay. They are bad because, you know, coming into a dark room like this, I mean, if you've been watching the series, there's a point where I walked into a fairly well-lit room, this room, and there was bad guys spawned in here. So a dark room is even worse, and you know, we don't want that. I've commented in the last episode, this series has been remarkably light on combat so far. In fact, it's been remarkably light on even finding things to fight. So and I'm starting to suspect that maybe there's a bug or something that's preventing stuff from spawning, because when I was doing my original testing of this game, stuff was spawning all the time. I was constantly in peril, well, just constantly in peril and in fear of my life. And here, it doesn't seem to be the same problem. So I'm going to save my firewood and use some sticks to cook the next meal, and we're good. So anyhow, copper is the name of the game, or the copper is certainly the name of the next milestone. And there's two ways to get copper: to find it and mine it, or to pan for it. Now, panning for it is a almost surefire way to get copper, but not a lot of copper, not very often. So yes, it's surefire, but it takes a long time, and it takes a lot of sand and panning, and that's not going to be particularly fun for you, and it's not going to be particularly fun for me. But I am gonna pan a few blocks of sand, because like I said, it does work. Then the next way we'll get copper is we'll go walkabout, right? We'll go looking over hill and dale, and we will check, keep our eyes open for nuggets of surface copper, and that's doubly good, because you know those nuggets is what we're after to make our first copper tools. But the location of those nuggets also indicate a vein of copper near the surface, which means it will be our one of the primary places we'll hit after we have a copper pickaxe. And wow, you hear that sucking sound? That is it's me trying to get copper. So again, when I mean there's been several updates to the game since I first played this, and so maybe they made some changes to the how common copper is in panning. I mean, there's one. I got one out of like, you know, a whole block of sand. Now we're coming up on halfway through a second block of sand. And when I was testing this before the series, it was the same, kind of the same way, in that, you know, if you got copper, you got copper. If you didn't, oh, there's another one. If you didn't, you didn't. But when you got copper in a single block of sand, I could get 3 or 4 nuggets. And now it's looking like I'm lucky to get 1 nugget in a block of sand. So we're halfway through my panning, and I have 2 nuggets to show for it. So nothing to get excited about, that's for sure. But and it's starting to get dark too. So just a little bit of review. You need 20 nuggets to have enough copper for 1 tool, right? So the pickaxe is absolutely essential to get the copper. So that there's 20 nuggets you need right there. But the thing is when you go mining for it with the pickaxe, you're gonna knock it out of the rock into these chunks, but those chunks are completely useless unless you have another tool called the hammer. Oh, that's three nuggets. And the hammer knocks it from those chunks into nuggets that you can actually smelt. So that's 2 tools. That's 40 nuggets, absolute minimum. Now, there's another tool. Oh, 4 nuggets. There's another tool, which is the prospector's pick, and that's 5. Okay, we're rolling. That's 2 in a single chunk of block of sand. But the prospector's pick will be important for 6. 6. I kind of feel like the count from Sesame Street. 6 copper nuggets. Anyway, well, 6. I got 6 nuggets out of 4 blocks of sand, which is actually surprisingly good considering how bad it's been lately. But anyhow, my point was to get the absolute minimum for mining, I'm going to need 40 nuggets. And I'd like to have 60 nuggets, and that gives me the whole the full meal package. So we'll just see how it goes. Yeah, I got 32 already. So divisible by A is important because we want limestone blocks, which I already have a bunch. I don't know why I didn't use them. But what we'll do is let's drop this stuff off while we're here. And then with the limestone rocks, we can add 1 clay per 8 stones, 8 rocks, and that will give us each of those will give us 2 blocks of limestone cobblestone. So since I have 32, that's not what I want. This is what I want. So I have 32, I need 4 clay. I don't really need blue clay for anything, so I will make sure to use that. Put the clay in the middle, put the rocks around the edge. Voila. Okay. So that gives me some blocks that we can go ahead and add to our structure. I don't know what to call it. When I was stationed in England, I used to go on all sorts of different tours and stuff. And there was a phase of European history about the time of the English Civil War where the guns and cannons and stuff had gotten to the point where it was becoming clear that traditional castles weren't going to protect you against them, right? So the idea of hiding in your castle for a long siege was going out the window. It was becoming more and more about mobility and stuff. But since the idea of having a castle where you could just hide, hopefully indefinitely, until the bad guys starved and went home, as that went away, then, people started building, more like regular houses, glass windows and stuff, because, glass windows not going to get you much protection when you have bad guys with guns and swords and stuff hanging out outside your door trying to kill you. So there was this phase where they had what they called armored houses, and basically it was a house, but the windows were kind of set up for protection. They were narrower. I mean, they had glass in them and stuff, but they were narrower and usually up off the ground higher and stuff. And that's kind of the vibe we're shooting for here. I didn't take any damage. Why was he so complaining? That's kind of the vibe we're shooting for here, right? So the house I'm building out of the stone, it's not a castle in the truest sense, but more of a fortified house. Now that said, I'm still debating about whether to wall off the island I'm building. And I might do that. That might then kind of start nudging us back toward full-blown castle, a little one at least. I mean, not going to build a Caerphilly or Chepstow. Those are big old castles in Wales that I visited. Very impressive, or I was very impressed. How about that? It was pretty awesome. So it is day 6 of June. So we're a little over. There's 9 days in each month. I know. And let's cycle all of our torches so that we don't have them go out on us again. So it's day 6 of June, which puts us a little way halfway through June. We still have a few months of good growing season, growing weather, crops growing, not me growing. I'm at an age where I'm growing, but it's more like sideways. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful. Now, when we go walkabout, as I've stressed all along in this game, this is a dangerous world. Now, I've stressed it, but we haven't seen it, so the game's making me look like an idiot or a liar. I'm not sure which. And I don't need help. I'm not a liar, and I don't need help looking like an idiot. I do that fine on my own. So we'll see if that streak continues. But we do have to be careful when we're running around on the mainland, because there's no lions and tigers, but there's certainly bears and wolves, and plenty of both, despite what we've seen. And yeah, but we're when we're out here running around, it's kind of like raft, right? There's lots of things you have to do at once, and all of them are important. So we got to look on the ground to look for the copper stones that I'm after. Plus, we'll pick up the flint and regular stones. And there might be resources like peat and clay. And we have to be on the lookout for all the bad guys. And there's a bad guy right there. It's a beautiful white wolf. And it looks like he's alone, which is good. And I'm standing on a peat. Okay, I know I marked peat on the map, so that's good. So I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling emboldened. Let's take out the wolf. Of course, it's been a while since I fought in here because we've had such a long peaceful streak. So hopefully I don't mess this up. Yeah, get him close. Too close. Too close. Too close. Okay, so wow. When it respawned me in, it actually spawned. So when you die, you don't start right back at your spawn point, but within a radius around your spawn point. And but it actually got me surprisingly close to where I died. I mean, I usually spawn much closer to the spawn point, which is nowhere near here. The problem I have now is that the wolf seems to be camping my corpse, which it's not cool when players do it in an MMO. It's certainly not cool when the computer does it after killing me. This is wrong, right? It's like insult onto injury. We'll go on this side of the, I don't know, what do you call this? A berm? Ridge? It's a ridge. Let's go with ridge. Stay on this side of the ridge so that we're, oh shoot. Shoot. I was kind of hoping he would go out further. Okay, we're going to make a run for it. Just grab my stuff and a flyby. And is he following me? No, he's didn't even notice that I ran by. So I was apparently killed by a deaf and blind wolf. It's not something to be proud of. Oh, where'd he go? Here, boy. This is not good. There's too many little places he could be hiding. I mean, he's not even hiding on purpose, right? He's just like hanging out. Well, this episode's not off to a great start. Okay, there he is. Let's see. Okay. At least I'm consistent. Consistently bad is not great, but consistency is key. I don't no time to look at the local mushrooms. Okay. And then, okay, well, let's do a flyby again. I hope I got them all. Yeah, I got them all. Okay, let's get across the water in case he's following. No. This is... Oh, if this was any other game, I would just say, hey, wolf, that's cool. You be you, I be me. And as long as, we keep a respectable distance, it's all good. In this game, I can't do that. I can't afford to do that. I'm gotta take this guy out. Okay, well, at least he's running from me. That's a step in the right direction. Of course, now I don't know where he went again, because... Oof. Here we go. Yeah, he didn't like that, and he's in a dead end. Why didn't you do that the first time? Okay, his body weight's low, so that means we'll probably get a little less than normal, but this is good stuff right here. Oh, a lot of bones too. So we got some animal fat, we got some hides, and we had some bush meat. Now I generally don't do anything with the bush meat. I let it spoil because you want spoilage of some stuff. And the value of the bushmeat's kind of low. Now I'm going to take the hides, and I'm going to take one of these animal fats. And yeah, I was able to get a couple oiled hides out of that. And that's important. With the hides, you want to make leather, except I can't make leather because to make leather requires tanning. Requiring tanning requires a chemical process. That chemical process requires the use of barrels. The use of barrels requires a saw to make the planks to make the barrels. And the saw requires metalworking, which we're not there yet. So, and the hides will go bad. And it's just as well because come winter, I'm gonna want some much warmer clothes. So when I applied the animal fat to those hides, that's gonna get me pelts, right? Which they call it pelts, but in my mind they're furs, right? And we'll be able to use those furs to make some nice, comfy, warm clothing by winter time, suitable. Do I have this clay on the map? Do I have the clay on the map? Let's make sure I don't get bitten while I'm looking at it. I'll kill this off. Embarrassing. Okay, so I don't have this clay marked on the map. So now I do. So yeah, because I mean the leather would be nice because we could improve our inventory capacity by swapping out these reed baskets with little leather backpacks. But like I said, that's not there. And the hides, the fresh hides, will not be fresh over time, and I'll lose them. So. The best way to preserve them right now, strategically and tactically, would be to make pelts out of them. However, I will note this was my my long dry streak of no bad guys, or at least no wolves or bears, is over. So I proved the game is actually spawning them. They're out there because I was starting to wonder, there's a bug or something. Or it's one of those things where I'm not necessarily heartbroken about it, but, So, yeah, that's working. I'm still haven't seen a bear, hide nor hair of a bear. So, that's good. Well, good and bad. I mean, still. Let me tell you, though, if you take on a bear and win, that is a mess of resources right there. That I hear chickens. I hear chickens. I hear Chick-fil-A's. Chickens are great for meat. Eventually we'll want to raise chickens, but they're also great for feathers. Feathers. Come here. Nice. Okay. So on the chicken, I get it on the first shot. For the wolf, what was it? 7. That was 1 in 7 until I started hitting them consistently. Oh, my inventory is pretty full. Bummer. So we'll head back to the hacienda and put stuff away. And then, whoa, onions. I don't think I have onions growing. It doesn't really matter if I do or not, right? At this point, if I find any naturally occurring crops, I need to snag them. Obviously, they'll grow in this region, and I have some empty fields that we can take advantage of. And onions are good because, I'm growing a lot of turnips and rye, and I think spelt. And they all use the same nutrients, which is nitrogen. This one uses P, which I think is potassium. I don't know. But the important thing to remember is it's not nitrogen. So, I didn't know you could stack berry bushes on top of each other. Well, that is interesting. So you can pick up and move berry bushes, and I will at some point, but... Ooh, a bunny rabbit. See, back to my old habits. Using a spear on a bunny rabbit is kind of like overkill. I mean, is there anything left? Keeps your weight decent. Okay. So I got a little pelt, or a little for treasure triage. I kind of need everything, but I can stack these. That gives me a spot. And then well, my axe is almost dead, so the axe is of limited value at this point. But a bone is a bone. You use that bone to make a new axe. As a reminder, you know, if you you make an axe or a knife using a bone handle, it has a bonus durability. So that's why we keep the bones. Now, what I do find interesting is if you kill a fish, you can get a bone out of that. And I think we'd be pretty hard pressed to justify making any tool, like an axe handle, out of fish bones. I mean, if you get a great white shark, maybe, but even then, their bones aren't really like bones. They're more like cartilage. So you're trying to swing your axe, and it's kind of like, you know, bending and flexing this way and that. It's kind of drive you nuts. Okay, so 41, so I knock it down to 40, divisible by 8. Now we just need 5 clay for that. Let's deal with the meat situation. I actually have 2 meat now, so I can actually use that in a dish, and I got a bunch of berries. The problem with berries is they perish crazy fast, almost as fast as meat. Okay, let's shut our door back up. So if you haven't seen this, the spoilage rates that you saw a minute ago were because this was open to the outside world. Now, when we look at the dates, they are much slower. I mean, you know, we're at 17.2 years on the rye grain. So, you know, that's much better than what we had before. 1.4 years, 17 years, 20 days. Yeah, so if we're going to move this all into chronological order, and do this, and there you go. Meanwhile, let's do some cooking. Oh, I gotta move the pot. Nope, I gotta move the pot to the fire, not burn the pot as fuel. Yeah, today it's the middle of the day, so I should be much more on top of things than I apparently am, and I don't know why. I mean, you got a lot on my mind, I guess, but still. The bush meat we will let spoil, but we'll carry around with this to kind of accelerate the spoilage. Let's grab feathers, put them in there. Let's grab some clay. I need 5. And let's put these blocks to good use. Okay. That tree that we moved, it's going to take forever to grow now, but... Oh! Okay, well, we'll get to those in a minute. In the meanwhile, let's do some weeding. A little light weeding. Like War and Peace. Or War and Peace. Yeah, it's a bad joke, but that's all my jokes. There you go. Okay, I am growing a lot of spelt. I got lots and lots of turnips. I'm not growing as much rye as I thought. Parsnips. So these are a pea crop, and this soil is fine for pea crop because we grew a nitrogen crop on it previously, so that the nitrogen content's a little tapped out, but that's why you want to rotate your crops. Let's pick these up. Oh, I will need to resort the storage now that we have a little more space. But I'm not going to do that right now. I really want to go get some copper, right? The metal age, and you can see I have molds. I'm all ready to do it. I've got a crucible. What I don't have is charcoal, which is true, but I'm not in a super rush until I have enough copper. But you know, we while we're out walking around, maybe we'll find some coal. Who knows? Coal is there's two types of coal in the game. There's brown coal and black coal. I've never played with brown coal. I mean, it's not like I've done this for years and years, but I did use black coal, and I seem to remember that it got hot enough to smelt copper. I don't remember how hot brown coal gets, and I've never seen it in game. I've only seen it in videos. So, but out here in the relative open, I feel kind of safe. Right? Wolves usually make noise. They let you know that they're in the neighborhood. Bears don't make a lot of noise. You don't know a bear's there until you kind of like are getting bitten. So whoa! I'm getting bitten. I just jinxed myself major mojo. And now I can feel hot bear breath, heating up my whole backside here. Keep going. You don't want to stop and turn around because that's when he gets you. So head for the water and kind of bounce through it. You go through the water faster than they do, as a general rule. And where'd he go? Where'd he go? I mean... Okay, so what did we learn? We learned that A, don't talk about bears while wandering out in the woods because you're going to jinx it and they're going to summon a bear on top of you. B, it is possible to survive a bear attack without armor. Normally they one-shot you. I have no idea if that was big bear, little bear, male bear, whatever, but... I fully thought I was dead, but I survived. And he seems to be... Oh, there he is. There he is. Kind of like grayish in color. I don't know, black bear maybe. See a fox too. Well, okay. So for as I was saying before, oh boy. Oh, come here. Drifter, huh? Ouch. Whoa. I don't know. Yeah. Why was I standing my ground when I was like already in bad shape? Oh, here he comes. Okay. I'm not feeling so hot. I'm not looking so hot. Okay, I guess this is all. We've gone, 8 episodes of hardly any combat. So let's just get it all done in one episode. Yeah. So this is as close as you can get to dying without actually dying. And because things have been so peaceful, I've spent zero effort trying to build bandages or anything like that. Right now I am completely unarmed. So if you've been watching this series up to this point and think, wow, that's some cool stuff I just learned, great. But if this is not this is not the point where you want to learn, unless you're learning from my mistakes, don't do as I do. Or if you do, I hope you do a whole lot better at it. Well, I'm almost up to 2 pips of health. I'll see if I can get my spears back. Wow. Wow. So, I didn't see what kind of drifter that guy was, but he hit pretty hard. Of course, I was in pretty bad shape. Huh. But I survived I wonder if they did some tweaking to the mobs, right? So bears aren't a guaranteed one shot anymore, and drifters are a little meaner and more capable than they used to be. Either way, let me get in the house and bleed indoors in the comfort of indoors. Nothing soaks up blood better than a straw mattress. Let me tell you that. Oh boy. How come I only got one of the dirt blocks? Yeah, I'm still in shock here. I was surprised it let me go to sleep this early. Of course, I'm surprised I'm not passing out. So, oh, and watch. Oh, there goes my hunger bar is opening up big time as my health bar slowly rises. Though I am in better shape. But I'm going through food like nobody's business. Not tired enough to sleep. Yep. So, I've got a lot of fruit. And there's only, you can mix fruit with grains. I think you mix fruit with dairy. I don't know. I've never had access to dairy in this game, but you can't mix your meat and your fruit. I don't know why. Okay, be still my, whoa, what is going on? Storm season. Sounds like we got thunder going on. Lightning will zap the snot out of you. So you want to be careful about that. I learned that the hard way during my practice sessions. I was out in the middle of a lake in my little raft when I got zapped by lightning, which, talk about realism, that's probably how it would have worked. The fact that I survived it is a little surprising. Okay, let's take a look at our crops here. So I got some turnips almost ready. So we're not quite ready for a harvest. So I feel reinvigorated as far as my desire to knock back the edge of the forest. Taking the trees away doesn't change the fact that this area is a forest biome, but at least It'll give us better visibility to any wolves that might spawn. And mature rye. Thank you. Any more? No. But you know, I've just renewed my respect of the mobs in this game. So I do worry about these guys. And besides, I'm gonna need some charcoal for smelting that copper if we ever get that far. And charcoal takes a lot of firewood. A crazy amount of firewood. I've already been collecting some, but I need a lot more. However, I do dig the fact that, like, the way you make charcoal in this game is pretty close to how people made charcoal in the old days, right? The idea of charcoal is you want to burn the wood, but you want to burn it in such a way that it doesn't have all the oxygen it needs. So it only partially burns, right? And the stuff you're left with, afterwards is charcoal, right? And the way they do that is they get all their wood together and tightly packed, and then they cover it with a mound of soil. And what this all does is the soil will essentially act as a kiln, but also keeps the air out, so that as the material burns, it doesn't get the oxygen it needs to fully burn, and what's left will be charcoal. And charcoal burns really hot. So, like, there's even, like I said, I don't remember if it's black coal or brown coal that burns hotter, but it's one of them does, and it's still not quite as hot as you can get things using charcoal. So yeah. So we need wood. Plus, I'm running out of sticks to cook my stuff. You know, getting killed and getting bit really took a toll on my immediate food supply, but we're not in danger of starving or even going hungry. It's just I have to cook stuff and eat stuff more often than I had planned, but just review, cutting trees in this game is not as straightforward as you might think or might be used to. If you want to maximize your yield, especially of things like sticks and seeds, you need to come up here and lop off the branches block by block first, and then tackle the trunk once all the leaves are gone. And this is to maximize your material gain, right? I mean, you know, in this world, in this survival world, nothing goes to waste. And so you know, chopping out, getting a few logs and a seed maybe, and maybe a couple sticks is not nearly as desirable as, you know, a stack or two of sticks, half a dozen seeds, and all the same logs. So that's what we got here. I'm gonna eat this fruit to get it out of my inventory and kind of top off the tank here. Oh boy. I've got you know, it's kind of funny. It's like when you watch somebody with like watery eyes or whatever from an allergy, you start to have symptoms and sympathy with them, right? There's kind of the power of your mind making you kind of feel the same way the person you're watching feels. In a similar vein, after getting chomped on by both a wolf and a bear, I don't know if I'm imagining it or if I really do feel sore in my legs. So maybe I'm just sitting at the computer too long. That's bad. But yeah, I think it has more to do with the fact that they're sympathy pains. Sympathizing with myself, which is kind of weird. Lots of leaves in this tree. I do like cutting trees, bigger trees at least. I mean, for one, you get a massive amount of material. It's all useful stuff. The other thing is while once you get going with the leaves and stuff, you can get a pretty good vantage point of the surrounding area, and plus I'm way up high, so the better viewpoint and the fact that I'm safely out of reach makes this a fantastic place, a safe place to be if in fact we start having bear and wolf patrols in the neighborhood. And I'm not talking about Cub Scouts. I was a Cub Scout. I was a bear. Oh, I was a bobcat, and then I was a wolf, and then I was a bear, and then I was a weeblo. But my parents got divorced, and I had to drop out of the program before I finished. I got my arrow of light as a weeblo. So, and then we didn't have the time or money for me to go to proper Boy Scouts. I did eventually return to scouting, but as an explorer scout. As a teenager, I joined the San Diego Police Explorer Post 250. So I was a police explorer. At that time, my mom was a cop, my stepdad was a cop, and I was seriously thinking about being a cop. And so that's what the Law Enforcement Explorer program was all about. And it worked. It worked fabulous. Though I fully understand a typical day in the life of law enforcement officers and what they go through on a daily basis and everything, I also learned it's a job I do not want. And all the negative aspects of the job that drove me away in the first place have only gotten worse over the years. So and it was kind of funny too, because when I went in the Air Force, you to get in the military, you take the ASVAB, which is the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, which is a big test. And each service, it generates their own scores out of your answers. And then they have basically, each service has kind of like guidelines about what the scores are used for and what they qualify you for, right? So, if you want to go in the Navy, they'll look at the scores and then they'll tell you, hey, you can, you can swab decks, or you could be a nuclear scientist. And, same thing with Army, same thing with Air Force. Now, I went in the Air Force. Actually, when I took the test, after I got my scores, I went to each of the services, and I guess I scored pretty well, because all 4 services were pretty excited about my scores. And the Marines and the Army didn't have that much to offer that interested me, and the Navy was really keen to put me on a nuclear submarine and put me in their nuclear program. And there's just something about being with a bunch of radioactive stuff in a tight, enclosed space under 600 feet of water for 5 months of the year. So I went Air Force. And, you know, when people, because, you know, I got in my family, there's a couple in my generation that were Army, but all the previous generation was Navy. And, you know, they were all like, why'd you join the Air Force? I said, look at it this way. I need to free up some storage so I can carry all the wood. What else can I ditch? I can grab these ladder bits while we're at it, but what can I ditch? Oh, I can eat the berry. That works. Anyway, so like the thing was, look, if we go to war, there's the Army, and we're the Army officers. They're right there at the front lines with their men. And if we go in the Marines, where's the Marine officers? Oh, they're in the front lines right there with their men. If you go in the Navy, okay, the Navy's a better option because they're fighting, but they're fighting in ships, and so they're a little ways from the action. But, you know, the Navy ships fighting people. I mean, the officers are right there with the enlisted guys, and so, you know, everybody dies together. But the Air Force is where it's at, because I didn't have my degree, so I wasn't going to go in as an officer. But see, with the Air Force bases, or the air bases, they're like way behind the lines to keep the plane safe. And then when we go into combat, who fights? Officers in jets. So if you're an enlisted guy in the Air Force, you can fight a war, and your chance of survival is pretty high compared to a lot of other services. So that, and the fact that, you know, you go into the Army or the Marines, and they teach you to kill people. And that's great if you're at war, but if you get out of the Army or the Marines and you can go to, like, you know, IBM or something, you're like, all right, what do you do? Well, I can kill people. Well, that can be a useful skill, but we don't get a lot of call for that in corporate America, at least not physically. I mean, there's a lot of metaphorical killing, I guess. Where do you put this? There it is. But in the Air Force, oops, I need a new axe. In the Air Force, you know, they got all this high-tech stuff. And their high-tech stuff is the same as civilian high-tech stuff. So the problem they had then, the problem they have now, is that people join the Air Force, they'll do their time, and then they leave and take those skills out to the public sector and get a nice, well-paying tech job. Which is why the Air Force often has what they call SRBs, selective re-enlistment bonuses, for certain jobs, because, like I said, people grab the skills and bail, and the Air Force still needs those people with those skills. So, yeah. Anyhow, it was a good decision. It worked for me. I really enjoyed it, and I got to spend a couple of years in England, courtesy of the government. So, you know, some people will go to Europe on a vacation for a week or maybe two. But how many people go kind of on vacation for 2 years? And it was nice because I really got to learn England in a way that your typical tourist doesn't, right? Hanging out with the locals, actually kind of becoming partially local, right? Part of the pub crowd or whatever. It was nice. And then that was a part of the reason why I wanted to join the military. Is I wanted to get stationed overseas so that I could experience overseas cultures in a substantial way, right? Not like the bus tour crew that comes through here in 5 minutes and they're gone again. I've done those. You know, there's value in them, but it's just not the same. So it looks like I have more than enough charcoal to get going here. I set up this 2x2 kiln. I need some more dirt is what I need, because I'm going to need to cover this up. And I need to plant this rye. Get it out of my inventory. Try to find some nitrogen-rich dirt. There's some rye. How about next to it? Yeah, that's nitrogen-rich. Thank you very much. Okay. What about these? They're still stage 4 or 5. But they will be ready imminently. Imminently. So I need some dirt. Here's some dirt. And, you know, kind of lowering the dirt down to the lowest level will help improve visibility in case somebody's trying to sneak up on my, what are we calling it, fortified house? Yeah, so I'll see him coming. These shovels don't last any time at all. And, you know, here's the thing. When you get to the metal age, all the tools you can make out of stone, you can make out of metal. And it has higher durability. But the thing is I can make a copper shovel, but the copper shovel lasts longer than a flint shovel, but they both don't get you much dirt before they break. So, you know, in a lot of ways, I don't think, like, the flint's free. It's easy to find, and it works. As opposed to the, you know, every time I want to make a copper shovel, I'm going to have to spend another 20 nuggets that I had to find the hard way, and go through the whole smelting process. And I don't even think you can cast shovels. I think you actually have to forge them, which makes it even another level of painful on top of all that. And then the thing breaks in no time flat. So what I'm saying is I don't think it's worth the effort for some tools. I'm going to need some, I need to get my knife. And I need to get some dried grass. And we need to set up a fire on top of this, I think. Pretty sure I remember this. Let's see. So put that there. I need some firewood. Do I need firewood? Is that how this works? So, charcoal. Okay, well that's everything about charcoal, but not making charcoal. Obtained by charcoal burning, okay? Yada, yada, yada. Using dry grass and 4 more firewood, build a fire pit on top of the exposed stack of firewood and light the fire pit. And then quickly, you have 30 in-game minutes to cover it up. Solid blocks to seal the pit. Okay, so basically I was right. So I need to add some firewood and light this puppy and then block it all up. Let's get some of the blocks in place oops. Let's get some of the blocks in place up front so that it takes no time at all to seal it up, right? So now I just need 1 block to seal it. So we take my torch and I pull out the firewood I just accidentally threw in there. Okay, there we go. Clock's ticking. Take the dirt and then yep, we got the smoke barely coming through the top there. That tells me it's working. The charcoaling is charcoaling. So, that's good. Okay, let's see. Oh, we can grab a little more dirt to add to our island. And, oh, I see by the time that I'm pretty much out of time. So let's just grab enough until my shovel breaks, which should be like no time at all. And then we'll use this to expand the island, and I think that'll probably be where we call it. But it is a gorgeous day out there right now. It is a gorgeous day. Now we need more island because I think I told you last time, and maybe the time before, you know, there's some facilities that we would like to have close to us on our little island, like a bee garden and a grove of fruit trees and some berry bushes. But if you've been watching the series since the beginning, and if you haven't, go back and watch the series since the beginning. There we go. I hate that noise though. You'll see that we started with a very small island, which was suited my needs for that immediate slice of time, but I've outgrew it pretty quickly, and I'm still outgrowing the island I have now, but we're in pretty good shape overall. I believe this is episode 8. So, I mean, we've been in game for about 8 hours. And I think for pretty much a newbie, we're doing pretty good for 8 hours of gameplay. So, very cool. Though my rags, the rags that I'm wearing, are still, you know, kind of crusty with dried blood from this episode. Oh boy, that's smart, but, well, it wasn't smart, but it hurt like I'll get out. So, what did we learn today, boys and girls? Bears are not teddy bears. And, you know, I kind of made a comment in my last episode of New Londinium talking about Yellowstone and people getting hurt in Yellowstone by not taking nature seriously. So, so here's another public service announcement, right? Bears, in game or in real life, are not Winnie the Pooh. They will rip into you like tissue paper. So, do yourself a favor and don't get anywhere near them. And there we go. Got kind of a hyperspace effect going on right now with whatever's blowing in the wind. If it wasn't midsummer, I'd say it's snow, but it is definitely midsummer. So that, I think we have time for one more quick little tree, because I'm really eager to get these pruned down, so to speak. I don't want to kill this tree because good mushrooms grow on that tree, but this tree can go bye-bye. It's not much of a tree, it's mostly branches. But we need the sticks. I found myself almost out of sticks, which is unusual. This is a game where if you do your resourcing like I do, you'll be sitting on sticks, sleeping on sticks, eating with sticks, cooking with sticks. Sticks. So that they are a pretty valuable resource. There's even a few things you can't do with anything but sticks, but see if I can knock down the logs without all the branches now. Oh, looks like they all went. Oh. Okay, well, I've tempted fate enough. Let's head back to the hacienda and call it a night. Put everything away. But I'd like to thank you for tuning in. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you learned something and or were entertained by the copious amounts of blood I was gushing all over the place. You know, if that works for you, I'm here to serve. I just I'm gonna need to eat some iron-rich foods for a couple of weeks before I give you another dose of that. But you know, tune in next week or 2 weeks for more adventures in the vintage story world. It is it's a rich game. It's a game where you actually achieve stuff and feel like you achieve stuff, and that's kind of like the whole point, I think. So if you get a chance, why don't you try playing it yourself? So until next time, I hope this finds you and yours in good health, good spirits, and perhaps a touch of good fortune. Cheers.